Moving on now to video number 2 and to carry on talking about sensory and other issues in autism and my experience of that. So also when I was at school, and still as an adult, but obviously it's more apparent when you're at school because you're around other people and you have to do more activities. Really struggled with my spatial skills, spatial awareness, and also I had really bad with organisation and stuff like that. And sort of like some sort of like practical skills. Like it took me a really long time to do certain things, like tying my shoelaces, which obviously I could do now as an adult, but it took me a really long time to master that skill. Even though my mum was like teaching me for like ages, trying to help me do it, and it took me just a lot longer than like other kids. So when I was in year 7, I had just about managed it, but like still took me a really long time to tie them up though. Things like that took me a really longer than like most people. And like things like following instructions, and I still struggle with that obviously as an adult, but things like following instructions, again, because I don't put myself in environments now, obviously I don't work and stuff, but whenever I've done like voluntary work in the past as well, like I often feel like really stupid, like really slow, because it affects your self-esteem, because people do lose patience, like when like you need things to be explained more than once, and then you do it wrong, and then like, I lose concentration or I get distracted and I just can't focus on, and it's just, I always feel like a complete dunce, and it kind of puts me off being around people because it's just really stressful and stuff. But when I'm on my own and I'm kind of like doing my own stuff, like for example, like with my cooking and stuff, because I'm like really, really interested, and obviously it's my special interest and stuff like that. And I could go at my own pace, and I could teach myself the skills because I'm motivated and interested in it. In my own kitchen, it's completely different, but that's because you can go at your own pace and you're in control. But it's when you're around other people, when other people are involved and instructions coming at you, and you have to do it this way, and you have to do it to a certain pace. It's like I remember at food technology lessons in secondary school, even though I love food, we gave it one of my most stressful lessons because like particularly when you do practical stuff, you had to work really, really fast. It makes me wonder what the food technology teacher will think, because she knows how obsessed I am with food. But when I was in her lesson, she used to always like shout at me, like, because she would say, "It looks like a dog's been at it. Oh, I wouldn't touch that with a barge pole." And one time I even put a blender actually in the sink, and it was attached to the electricity. She went, "You could have given someone an electric shock." Obviously I do have common sense now, I wouldn't do that now. But I think also, I don't think I would have done it if I, because obviously I know, like logically, you're not supposed to do that, but in that heat of the moment, when you're really, really stressed, I tend to do like really silly things and get shouted at, because I'm just not concentrating on thinking, because it's just so stressful. And I think also, like, these are some of the things people don't realise in autism, because often people just focus about, like, the kind of social side, and obviously that is the biggest aspect in autism. But there are these other things as well, and let me know what you think in the comments box below, if you can relate to any of this. I think, well, certainly in my case, like, it just takes you a lot longer to, certainly growing up, takes you a lot longer to acquire skills that I think, like, normals, as it were, pick up at a lot younger. Like, I still couldn't do my bed until I was like, when did I learn to do my bed? I still struggle with that actually, but I think I was probably about university age before I actually learnt the basics of how to make a bed, even though my mum kept on showing me for ages, I just couldn't fold sheets. I can actually make my bed now, so yeah, I have learned that skill. But it just took me a really long time to get there, and it still takes me ages to do it. And it's like, and that's in my own bedroom. If someone's giving me instructions and I have to do it quickly, like I remember when I was at charity shops and I have to like quickly do these things, people lose patience, and they can come out quite like sarcastic and patronising and stuff. Like I remember one customer once on his age ago said, "Did your mum never tell you to fold sheets?" It's like, it's just so rude. Like people just don't think that it's not like necessarily, it's not like laziness or things like that, or it's not like you're not trying. It's just like, it's a really hard thing for you to get your head around how to do these things. Yeah, my room was always like a pigsty as well, always really, really messy, things just dumped everywhere when I was growing up. So yeah, and like, yeah, again, these are just things that people don't often talk about. But yeah, obviously I have improved in many respects. As you get older, you do improve practically in many areas, just with the developmental process. You do get better at some things with age, and you do learn some common sense and things like that. It's hard for me to know sometimes how much I still struggle with those areas because I'm not in work, and in many respects I can make my environment now pretty much tailored to my needs. so I can actually remove quite a few of the issues I used to have just by controlling my environment. But obviously some things I can't control, like obviously noise, which really still stresses me and makes me chronically stressed every day, just because I find it so hard to focus, I find it so hard to concentrate, I find it so hard to block out noise. So I'm constantly like thinking about noise, I'm constantly thinking about when the next noise is going to come. My sleep is a bit up and down because I'm so sensitive to noise. Just aeroplanes wake me up, cars wake me up, the world is just way too noisy. I'm constantly on edge, I'm constantly well, I'm tired pretty much every day. It's kind of my normal pretty much since I was a teenager. So yeah, I'm always at least a little bit tired. I still sleep sometimes quite a lot of time with fingers in my ears. I've tried earplugs, they don't work. I've yet to find earplugs that actually work, so they just don't seem to work for me. So yeah, and things like often things just feel very, very tiring, and like the effort involved to do many tasks. Like I still need to take the bins out, which I am going to do as soon as I finish this video. I am actually going to try and take the bins out. But oh my god, I just see it now. I just feel really, really stressed. I know like no one likes doing the bins, and like people say, oh, I don't like doing the bins. None of us like doing the bins, which is true. No one likes doing the bins, but I have a feeling that most normals don't like. It doesn't like deplete them of energy. It's like for me, if I've done the bins, I can't do any like other like activity for like ages. So I spend a lot of my time kind of like procrastinating because it I will do it, and once I've done it it's fine, but it's just like summoning up the whole energy to do it is like a really, really big effort, and it just is very, very, very stressful, and then on top of everything else. But I have a feeling it's a lot of it I think is due to the way just everything takes up so much space. Just I have to focus on everything one step at a time. I can't do everything all at once, like you know. So it's everything takes a long time. You know, it's like I sort of need a roadmap. And like most like normals, like can get adults. I mean, like normal adults, they can just I say normals in inverted commas, but they can kind of just go about their lives kind of without thinking about this too much. They seem to be able to make their lives move forward. They know they know what to do. They don't need, you know. Whereas for me, I'm still thinking, how do I actually live like an adult? It's just really difficult. Yeah, so those are the sort of negative sides of the sensory and organisational side that I really struggle with. Positives, are there any positives from? Well, I mean, obviously for me, like I really love eating and I love food, and I know for quite a few autistics that can be a real challenge, and one of the things they really struggle with. I know a lot of autistics have really narrow, limited diets. For me, I'm kind of like the opposite. For me, taste is one of the senses that brings me a lot of pleasure and a lot of satisfaction, and I just find it really comforting. And also, food is very much associated with routine. Like I know, like eating at set times, it's a very structured kind of thing. So obviously, that's become one of my major obsessions, but in a good way. Like obviously, when I was a child, it wasn't. I would like eat whatever, but I didn't have the awareness of nutrition and stuff. Whereas now, I know like how to eat healthily, so I'm very interested in like healthy eating, and obviously, yeah. So for me, that's one of things on a sensory level. Like I said, it does give me great satisfaction. Oh yeah, the other one I forgot to mention that I do find quite aversive, but at the same time can bring me satisfaction. But it depends. Is smell. Now, if it's a nice smell, I absolutely love it. So if and again, it often comes down to control. If I'm in control of a smell and I know exactly where it's coming from, and it's a nice smell, I love it, and I want to smell it and smell it and smell it. But if it's someone else's smell, it actually can make me feel quite angry, and I find it really, really distracting. And like particularly certain things like perfume. Like another thing I think that's why it distracted me at school. Like why do all these teachers like they would wear really strong perfume and they'd like hover over you and it's like really horrible smell. And it's like bloody hell. It's really distracting. Just things like that. The way people have to spray aftershave over themselves. I mean, really? People absolutely stink. I don't want to smell their disgusting smells. Thank you very much. Smoking, that's another one. Aside from the fact it's absolutely, I don't want to have to breathe in carcinogens, but it also absolutely stinks. And all of those things make me feel really angry and like feel like I just want to stay away from people, because as a human species, we are one of the most smelliest animals. And it's like, I'd rather obviously BO is absolutely disgusting and it's a really horrible smell, but I'd actually rather smell it if I had to choose. One of those really strong perfumes. Really absolutely disgusting. Things like some hand creams as well that people put on, again, but I find really distracting, and they can kind of make me feel like gagging a bit. But like So I try like to mask it though, that's the thing, because I don't want to be rude, and I know that some people take it the wrong way, so often I don't actually say anything, but inside I'm inwardly seething. I'm like, why? And then it like really, really distracts me, so I wish people wouldn't do things like wear hand cream, like really smelly hand cream and stuff, like particularly, you know, when I need to concentrate, that really annoys me. I think again, because it's like anything that kind of, any sensory input that comes to me that's out of my control, basically, is actually very much a control thing. If I'm in control of smell, well, in basically all of the senses, if I'm in control, if I've chosen them, if they're something that I've chosen to put into me, then it's all happy days, it's all fine, because I'm in control. But if it's coming from someone else, and I have not wanted it, and I do not know when it's coming, and it's invading me, it's invading my space, then that makes me feel very angry and on edge, and it's disruptive. So that's it really in a nutshell. I also have synesthesia as well. I don't know, I mean obviously that is kind of a sensory thing, but I've talked about that in some of my other videos, where that means I see letters, numbers, days of the week, etc. in colour and visually sort of laid out in and very clear, almost like a sort of three-dimensional landscape. That is probably another sensory aspect that does bring me pleasure, although it's also something that can cause stress as well, because I'm very aware of time passing. It can make me feel more aware of change and things like that, so it's a bit of a kind of double-edged sword, that one. Also, when I was younger, I used to tiptoe walk. I could only actually ever walk. This was only when I didn't have shoes on, though. With shoes, I was fine, but without shoes, with the exception of plimsolls, because plimsolls are quite thin shoes. But if I was wearing plimsolls, socks, or bare feet, I always had to walk on tiptoes. I only could walk normally with proper shoes on my feet, because it just felt very uncomfortable to walk, and also I lost my balance and was all wobbly. Again, I didn't really question it, as you don't when you're a kid. It's just, my mum always thought it was a bit odd, but she didn't realise at the time why I did it, and it was only later realised, well actually, it was when I was getting diagnosed, and we just mentioned it as just a quirk, and it was like, yeah, that kind of can be one of the symptoms of autism for some people as well. Not just autism, but other conditions too, but it is one of those kind of developmental things. It kind of suggests some developmental oddity. Let me know if any of you tiptoe walked or still tiptoe walk. As an adult, I can walk with my feet flat on the ground now with bare feet. I can, but it still doesn't feel as comfortable as walking on tiptoes. I think I was a teenager when I first realised that I could walk with my feet flat on the ground, although I still have a bit of a wobble when I try and do it. And it's something that I try and mask when I'm in public on those rare occasions when I have my shoes off, because I realise it might look a bit odd, which I'm trying to unmask now. But I still naturally gravitate to being on my toes. That is keep my usual position when I don't have shoes on my feet. So I think I've covered pretty much everything. If there's any, if you've got any questions, you'd like to find out any more about this, do let me know. And I'm always happy to come back and talk about this again. So I'm filming this on a Thursday. I'm hoping to film it. I'm filming this on a Thursday, but I'm going to be releasing this hopefully next Tuesday. So you should get this on Tuesday the 5th. And I also want to come back to my favourite books as well the week after that. Okay, so thank you for watching.